Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Ainul Afwa binti Muhammad Yusar, metric number 1240224. Today, our group will be presenting about Petronas. Before we dive into issues in Petronas, let's learn what is Petronas. Petronas stands for Petroleum Nasional Berhad, is a globally fully integrated oil and gas corporation owned by the government of Malaysia and is responsible to safeguard and manage the nation's hydrocarbon resources. Now, as the company moves towards cleaner energy and innovation, Petronas aligns its effort with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which there are three most relevant SDG that can be correlated with these issues. The first one is SDG 8, which is about decent work and economic growth. In the case of Petronas layoff, this could remind companies to treat employees fairly and help them learn new skills. Secondly, SDG 13, which is about climate action. This is proven when the aftermath of the recent incident in Putra Heights raised an environmental concern, which includes air quality and safety of gas infrastructure. And the last one is SDG 16, which is about peace, justice, and strong institutions. It relates to the need of better cooperation between federal and state governments. Now, I will pass this to the next person who will talk about issues in Petronas. Thank you.
The Putra Heights tragedy, a normal morning turned into nightmare. On the morning of April 1st, 2025, everything seems normal in Putra Heights. People were going to work, kids were getting ready for school, just another ordinary Tuesday. But exactly at 8:10 a.m. in the morning, the peace was shattered. Something terrifying happened. The ground suddenly shook, followed by a loud and powerful explosion. People rushed outside, confused and scared. That's when they saw it, a massive fireball raising 30 meters into the sky. Panic spread as smoke filled the air and houses caught fire. The source of the explosion was a gas pipeline owned by Petronas Gas Berhad. The heat at the scene reached over 1000 degrees Celsius, enough to cause major destruction. Cars were destroyed, 270 homes were damaged, and 39 people were injured. Rescue efforts were delayed due to narrow and congested road, making it difficult for emergency teams to reach the area quickly. But what makes the tragedy worse was what came after. Investigation revealed that the explosion may have been linked to poor planning and risk development. Contractor was suspected of working in restricted high-risk zone without proper approval. This raises a serious cases.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Hanisha Mimi binti Muhammad Razif and my matrix number 1240225. We will continue with issue 2 and issue 3. The second issue is the jurisdictional conflict with Petronas, and the third one, 2025 workforce layoffs. First, the conflict with Petronas centers on who controls Sarawak's oil and gas. Petronas refers to the Petroleum Development Act 1974, while Sarawak argues that their rights were already protected under the Malaysia Agreement 1963 using the Oil Mining Ordinance 1958. Sarawak empowered Petronas to manage local operations, creating a situation of legal pluralism where overlapping laws cause delays, confusion, and also scare off investors. Then comes issue 3, Petronas mass layoffs in 2025, mainly affecting junior and contract staff, while officially blamed on energy market shifts and sustainability goals. And some say the Petronas conflict also played a role, and without proper support like retaining or job placement, morale dropped, trust broke down, and productivity suffered. And together, these issues show the need for better legal clarity, smarter HR strategies, and more balanced approach to federal-state relations. And by that, we will continue to the next part. Thank you.
On 1st April this year, a big explosion and fire happened at the Petronas Gas Berhad in the Putra Heights. It causes a serious damage and many people were affected. After that, the authority used strategic management to control the situation and start an investigation. Strategic management means planning ahead, using resources wisely, and preparing for the risk, both inside and outside for the company. The first problem was the slow emergency response. Traffic jams and poor city planning made it hard for help to arrive quickly. This showed that Petronas didn't do enough actional planning with the local government. Also, illegal contractors were allowed in the dangerous area. This showed weak planning and poor safety control. report says this may have causes the gas leak and the explosion. The good strategic management should include the risk control, safety rules, and also regular check. Petronas should have followed these three steps to avoid this kind of tragedy happen again. So, in conclusion, the accident shows why strategic planning is very important. If Petronas had better planning, the risk could have been reduced. This also help protect people and keep the company good reputation.
Right, you have heard the first concepts from my friend Haris Ashraf. So now, let us move on to the second concept from the Principle of Management course that I can relate for the second issue, which is the global environment concept. So in regards of the Petronas and Petros issue, the global environment concept takes effect due to the organization's political, legal, and economic factors. Because all of these are shaping their business decisions. Sarawak uses its rights under the Malaysians Agreements 1963, which is the MA 63 in short, which challenges Petronas under the Petroleum Development Act 1974. So there are two agreements here. The first is the MA 63 and the second one is the Malaysia Petroleum Development Act 1974 that Petronas used to take control over the oil and gas resources in Malaysia. So this overlap law creates a legal uncertainty. So that's all for the second concept, which is the global environment concept for the second issue. So now we move on to the third concept.
Let's look at Petronas' 2025 workforce restructuring through strategic human resource management or SHRM. While Petronas cited sustainability, SHRM scholars like Armstrong and Taylor argue that human capital should be seen as a strategic asset, not a cost. The fact that layoffs mainly hit contract and junior staff raises red flags. Sitama Maria Panadar warns that treating workers as expendable harms innovation, critical for Petronas' clean energy goals. Through external pressures like the Petros conflict played a role, SHRM calls for proactive strategies. Instead of cutting jobs, Petronas could have invested in reskilling. The World Economic Forum highlights workforce development as the key to the energy transition. Job rotation and upskilling not only build flexibility but also support SDG 8 on decent work. In short, financial cuts may have been short-sighted, missing a strategic opportunity for long-term sustainability workforce planning.
Now, I will present a summary of our report on Petronas, including the main challenges and our recommendations. Although Petronas is a fully integrated global oil and gas company, it still faces several issues. Among the main issues are the Putra Heights incident, jurisdictional conflict with Petros, and workforce layoffs. These issues highlight the need for better strategic planning, political coordination, and workforce stability. These issues relate to three management concepts. First, strategic management, which is important in unexpected incidents like the Putra Heights fire that related to SDG 13, climate action. Second, global environment that referring to political conflicts related to SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. Lastly, strategic human resource management that relevant to SDG 8, decent work and economic growth that emphasize the need to manage employee issues effectively. So, what do we suggest to address these challenges? First of all, enhancing part-time monitoring to prevent future incidents. Second, encouraging government intervention to resolve the Petronas and Petros conflict. Last but not least, applying job rotation to develop skills and reduce layoffs. These recommendations aim to strengthen Petronas operations and sustainability in a competitive global industry.